Welcome to your Bio 113 class. I wanted to show you around class just a little bit. The content isn't mostly open yet, but I just wanted to show you around a little bit so you can find your way through the class, because I know every class is structured a little differently because every teacher has a little bit of a different philosophy as to how they're going to do this. So the first thing, when you come in the first week of class, you'll land on the Start Here button, and I talk you through, basically what this class is at. This is me, Stephanie Edelman, and I'm going to be teaching this class. And one of the things I'm doing this semester, again, is I'm going to give you access to a Slack page. So if you click on this link right here, it gives you access to Slack. And Slack will allow you to talk to all the two students in the three classes that I teach. So you'll have a lot more access to help with Slack, and it's worked pretty well in the last couple of semesters. So consider logging into Slack. It'll work on your cell phone, and it's a pretty good thing. Then the second tab is going to be the syllabus. You can get to the syllabus by clicking on this syllabus folder here. In the syllabus folder, and this is how you're going to get most of your documents this semester. There's going to be a link to OneDrive, and then you simply get everything from OneDrive that you need. And I will go over the syllabus separately, but this particular video is just to walk you through the class. Then starting in about the second week, you'll come into the class on the announcements. Make sure you look at the announcements. There's nothing there yet. But make sure you look at the announcements each week, because I communicate everything I need you to know. I communicate it via announcements. So your assignments are going to be listed in the announcements. So everything you need is going to be in the announcements. There's an Info and Resources tab. The Info and Resources tab shows you the happy hour link. So I have, or anytime we have online meetings on Teams, this is going to be the link that gets you there, unless I email you a separate link. But if in doubt, this is going to be a link. I'm going to offer a happy hour every Friday at 5 o'clock. I'm going to be online, and if you have any questions, you can just stop by. You don't even have to have questions. You can just stop by to say hi. Or you stop by with questions. I can walk you through things that you may be unclear about. The Slack invite is there too if you miss it someplace else. Make sure that anytime you see the Slack invite that it says Fall 21 over here. I used Slack invites in the previous iterations of this class, and there may be a spring or summer Slack invite that snuck itself in there. So double check to make sure when you look at the link that you end up actually at the right Slack. If you have grade or assignment questions, if you click on here, you'll get to answers to a lot of those questions. You can either get to it this way, or if you would prefer printing it out or seeing it in a different way, there's a Google Doc, and I just update the Google Doc with this information. For the kinds of questions students ask me about grades. So look through that if you have any questions about grades or assignments or those kinds of things. These are collections of questions I received over the years. You're going to use Labster as a online lab software, and there's usually lots of questions about Labster. Again, you can click on Labster information to get that. The Google Doc contains that same information, and it tells you how to purchase Labster. It tells you how to use Labster. There's usually videos how to do these kinds of things. I try to rely on videos quite a bit because I know sometimes the visual helps you figure out what you need to do better than writing it out. How to do different things on Blackboard. If you're not familiar with how to submit assignments, how to find your section number, and those kinds of things, there are videos showing you how to do those things. These are, so I have a Google page where and I'll just click on that real quick. I have a Google page where I have, when you get to the home page first, there are collections of pictures basically having to do with all of the different modules we're going to be working with, all of the different subjects. And so when you're, for example, when we're doing the plant kingdom, some of the pictures are and some of the videos don't really come across. And so there are different pictures to show you again some of the things that may not come across on the documents. So look into those, but I reference those in each of the modules when there is a need for referencing those. There are also sections on question and answers. There are certain questions that come up all the time. Click on this link to see if you have, there's specific questions that always come up in the enzyme activity lab, in the microscopy lab, and I try to kind of walk you through some of the more difficult things that students tend to have trouble with in this. So I hope you're starting to get the impression that there's lots of ways to help yourself. And that's kind of my goal with this class, that I'm trying to give you the tools so you can help yourself. These are my favorite technical resources. There's a drawing program that I really like. There's a video capture program called Screencastify. You just add it to your browser, and that's actually what I'm using to record this particular video. If you have problems, especially problems with Labster, it often helps for you to send me a video that shows me exactly where you're stuck and what's happening, and that helps me to help you. Microsoft Office Suite is free to you. I don't know if you're aware of that, but there's a link in this folder when you click on it that takes you to Microsoft Office. So that's the info and resources section. Many of you will never make it there, but go click on it and see what's in there, because some of the information is actually quite helpful. Then we get to the course content, and there's nothing there yet because all the things aren't open yet, but I wanted to run you through at least one of them to show you what these modules look like. So each week there's going to be a module for the different subjects we're going to be covering. And each module each week is going to look exactly the same way, or it's going to be structured exactly the same way. In the title, you'll see the due date. And then there's going to be a module overview. There's usually a walkthrough video that shows you overall what I want you to do this week, what the kinds of things that, how all the parts go together within the module. Then there's a little meme, ignore if you need to. Each week there's a link to a lab handout, and again, that's another one. It's a Google Drive, so you click on there and then you click on the lab handout folder. The lab handouts are crucial for your ability to finish each. It basically contains everything you need to get through each module. So lab handout, absolutely crucial. Make sure you look at it. Make sure you go through it. You will work with that lab handout. That's the primary thing you're working with. I go over the information in the lab handout by using a lecture. Basically, the lectures usually contain the information that's in the lab handout, and sometimes a little bit of extra real-life connections. I go through some of the things in more detail if I feel the need that they need to be covered in a little more detail. Then the next section is, so basically the way I structure my class is there is what you need to know to complete the assignment, then what you need to see. This is where the demonstrations come in. So I'm trying to show you how to use a microscope. I'm trying to show you what you're supposed to be looking at when you're looking at the termites in the first week. So under demonstrations is everything I want you to see before you do the activities and the assignments. And then there is under the to do is what the activities are that you're actually going to perform this week. What are you actually going to do? And there's always a lecture quiz every week that goes over the questions in the that are covered in the lab handout and in the lecture. There are I oftentimes have the question set, which is part of the lab handout, but the question set, I usually have it separately for ease of printing out. So you're not going to necessarily print out the whole thing. And then in most cases, the question set quiz basically takes the questions off the lab handout and turns them into short answer or multiple choice. So this is where you submit the answers to the question set. And I go over that in each of the modules specifically, so to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like. Then this tells you what you're supposed to have learned from the chapter. And then you have, sometimes I give you optional resources, little videos that I thought were fun, little extensions to what we've learned, little illustrations. This is not necessary. But the but it helps with the understanding. And I just realized, hang on, let me do this real quick. Oh, nothing like teaching on the fly. So the other thing that is usually and I just realized I hadn't moved it yet. The other thing, and I'm just going to move it because, why not? The other thing that's in your activities is your Labster activity. So under your assignments activity, under the to do, is also the link to the Labster activity. And so to complete the Labster activity, you simply just click on this button, and it takes you to the Labster activity. All of the Labster activities are also available under Labster simulations here. So if you click on this, you'll see all of the Labster activities that are available for the whole semester, but they will be linked separately in each module where they belong. Exams you'll find here under this folder. They'll show up when it's time for the exams. And then there's a couple of different tools. There's My Grades. My Grades tells you what your grades are. You see what's already graded. You see what's already upcoming. You see what's already submitted. It's a very helpful little tab. The discussion board, there is at this point a questions board where if you're going to have any kind of question, you can ask it here, or you can ask it on Slack instead. In my experience, Slack usually nets you an answer quicker because a lot of your classmates will look at Slack too. And if they know the answer, some of them may actually answer your question for you, especially if you have questions that are targeted to other students. Slack is your friend. We're probably not going to use Blackboard Collaborate much, but you can use Blackboard Collaborate. So Blackboard Collaborate is available to you. And if you want to meet with a classroom mate, for example, you can both meet in this course room where you can meet live, online with each other and discuss items with each other. And then there's the help section, there's online tutoring, and then there's Blackboard available for help. And that's pretty much what the course is overall. I hope this gives you a little bit of an idea of what you're facing, and I look forward to having you in class.